Hey, this is Hugh here. I'm in Canberra at High Road, and I'll be running some experience sessions separate to the coffee bar. Now, each of these coffees are very unique. They'll need their own extraction parameters that I've dialed in on this machine with the paddle, and I preset them into the machine so I can access them and do this easily in the session without having to be so into the machine. Now, this machine I have running off tank water, and I'll only be running around 6 extractions for each session. So there's plenty of water in the tank, plenty of space in the drip tray for each session, and I'll refill, reset each half an hour block that I do. So this way I've got all the flexibility. I haven't had to plumb it into the wall or do any real setup. I've just brought this with me in the car, set up on the bench, plug into a normal wall socket, and I can go straight away. So I'm gonna run you through some of the coffees, some of the extractions that I'm gonna run today, and then we'll go a little bit deeper in the use of the machine and how that's gonna help me. All right, so first coffee, this is Liberica. It's a different species of coffee to what we're used to drinking. It has a lower natural acid and lower chlorogenic acid comparing with Arabica. So I can run a slightly lower bar pressure, and I can be really gentle on extraction without getting that sourness like I'd get from other species. So for this coffee, I've started off with a 4 bar pre-infusion for 5 seconds. I've ramped up to 8.5 bar. And then for the last 10 grams, I brought it back to 6, just to ease off some of those low grown qualities, because this coffee's grown 0 to 35 meters above sea level. So I wanted to avoid some of those savory notes that I get from that altitude. So I've really dialed this coffee in with this extraction. I'm really enjoying those parameters there. So I'm gonna go into the menu here. I'm gonna set that to button 1, so I can allow that extraction to take place with the profile that I loved, and I can really focus on the customers, telling them all about the coffees without having to be so inside the machine. So the second coffee is a really high grown Ethiopian washed. It's a really beautiful lot. It's very dense, and we don't have a lot of negatives in this coffee that we need to run away from. So I found that we could push extraction harder than the Liberica. So I've skipped pre-infusion with this one. I found a straight 9 bar recipe, works really great. I can go straight into the menu, select button 2, and go straight to the standard espresso profile. And then I can increase or decrease the mils or grams that I'll receive at the end, and run my shot very simply by pressing button 2. So off, I know I want 112 mils. So it's really easy to go back into the menu, select my espresso, and reduce it to 112 mils. Now I'm good to go. Okay, third coffee, it's a milk-based roast profile. A little bit more stretched out. This is a natural Brazil, and I'm gonna be running a very concentrated ratio. I wanna be really gentle with this coffee to avoid bringing out any of the bitterness that you get from roast profile. I'm going back to the paddle for the Brazil. Engage to that 4 bars, which we can see with the set point. Then ramping up to 6. We're going to go a very gentle, lower pressure extraction with a shorter output to avoid any of that bitterness. Now this is really textural, really caramelized in its qualities. I'm going to put milk on this, and it'll be a beautiful rounded experience. So now I've set that as lever profile 2, so I can go straight in, select lever profile 2, and everything's all set up for button number 3. So as you can see, we have 3 very different coffees, 3 different extraction approaches. I can have this set into the machine, so it's really easy to replicate in those sessions.